Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be slightly different because it's going to be a bit of a tribute video to my dad. This was actually supposed to come out on Father's Day. What I'm going to be doing today is taking some of my favourite pictures from when I was a baby, when I'm with my dad, and then I'm going to recreate my dad's outfits. I thought it would just be a really cool way to kind of pay tribute to him in my own sort of fashion way. But before we get into that, I kind of just want to provide some context on why I believe celebrating really good and present dads in their children's lives are really important to celebrate. My dad, Dennis Johnson, has literally been the rock of my family since way before I was born, and as much as I'm sure he knows that we love him and we appreciate him, I just wanted to do something nice for him. You know, my dad's quite a social butterfly, quite laid back, takes things in his stride, and I have really good fond memories of my dad, like taking us to the park, taking us horse riding, taking us to the cinemas, taking us to McDonald's. And I really loved going to McDonald's. Every time we would go to the park, we would go to McDonald's afterwards, and my favourite thing to get would be a cheeseburger Happy Meal, because I always wanted the toy that came with the Happy Meal, and then I didn't like gherkins at the time, so my dad would always pick them out for me and eat them. And for some reason, I specifically remember this one time us having McDonald's and my dad wasn't having any, and then I said, "Dad, why aren't you having any McDonald's?" And then he was just like, "I don't really like McDonald's, you know, love." And I just went, "Oh," because to me McDonald's was like the best thing in the world. And I was shocked, and I said, "Dad, how can you not like McDonald's?" And he said, "Shara, in life, love, sometimes things just change. When you get older, things that you used to like, you just don't like anymore." As I've gotten older, as silly of a statement as that may sound, I've realised how much that statement has really resonated with me, and literally everything in my life has changed from when I'm a child to now. Like, we're completely different now. Me and my two sisters have completely transformed into these whole different people who have formulated their own ideas and opinions on life, and are kind of just trying to figure out our own way on how to do things. And I think as a parent, for both my parents in fact, it must feel quite surreal to see your children who you've nurtured from just a little tiny small human being that you could hold in your hand to now us growing into these three lovely women. You know, we all have minds of our own, and my mum and dad raised us very strong, and sometimes I do catch my dad flicking back at old pictures, and I have heard him on the phone kind of saying, you know, I miss when the girls were young. And I'd like to just say to like all parents, like, we still need you now that we're older. We just need you in a different way, and we still very much appreciate you. Now that I'm older, my dad always tells us how proud he is of us, and even if it's like Christmas or whatever, and we ask him and just say, "Dad, what do you want for Christmas or your birthday?" his literal response is, "Love, I don't need much. I've got you guys. You guys are all doing really well, and that's all I need." And then he starts saying, "Oh, thank you, Jesus," and then he sits down and falls asleep. He says, "I'm grateful for health, strength, and a family, because what I have, a lot of other people don't have it." He's just always got such this gracious attitude and this great outlook on life, which I think a lot of people could learn from. And he's always taught me and my sisters to go big and dream big and go really hard after what we want and be disciplined in things. And I think that's why I'm so ambitious and such a go-getter, because of all of those messages that my parents instilled in me from when I was a young child. Now, when my dad was younger, he had his own business called DJ Motors, and he had an entrepreneurial spirit way before it was cool to be an entrepreneur. And for whatever reason, that venture may not have worked out, but I feel such a sense of pride, and I feel so proud of my dad for just throwing caution to the wind and just going after his dream and doing what he absolutely loved in the 1980s. And I can't imagine what the financial strain must have been like, what the amount of racism must have been like for him and my mum back in the day, and then trying to own your own business. So I feel very proud of that. And even though that was very short-lived, I feel such a sense of pride of looking at that photograph of my dad thinking, my dad owned his own business, I can do that too. And I would say that I definitely get my fighting spirit and my passion from my mum, and I get my drive and my discipline from my dad. He always says to us, if you're going to do something, do it properly, or don't do it at all, but don't half-ass anything. And that's a mantra that's always stuck with me. I don't like to just half do things. What is the point? Now, every single time me and my sisters had to move out, whether it was to like go to uni or just go to somewhere really far, like my dad was always there to move stuff in, to move stuff out, and he's just been a constant, like whenever we've needed him. And when I was at uni, if more than 5 days had gone past and I hadn't spoken to my parents, my dad would ring me and the first thing he would say to me is, "You alright, love? How you getting on?" And that meant such a lot to me, especially in my early years of moving out, because I was happy to have my independence, but in the same breath I was still trying to figure out life and kind of navigate my way through a new city and get used to everything. So having that familiar voice on the end of the phone just asking me how I was getting on meant a lot to me. You know, my dad is up first thing in the morning, and at 6:45 he's in the kitchen with his Bible open and he prays for my mom, he prays for me and my 2 sisters every single morning before he leaves for work. And because him and my mum have been doing that since I was little, I feel so much better going into situations, any situation, knowing that they've prayed for me. Even when I have big styling jobs and I'm not at home, I'll ring my mum and dad and just be like, "Can you pray for me?" And when they've prayed for me, I get such a sense of peace. Even though I know I can pray myself, when they pray for me, I feel like, yeah, I can go and conquer anything now because I've got my parents' prayers covering me. Now that we're older, my dad takes pride in doing DIY in my sister's house or fixing all of our cars, but it just goes to show that even though we've gotten older, he's still very much present. He's not one of those dads who are just there but not really there, if that makes sense. He wants to be active in every part of our lives, and I really appreciate having him. And I also appreciate the dynamic that him and my mum have. They will have been married for 40 years in August. Just seeing them together, just seeing their whole marriage, it's given me something to aim towards. I know what a healthy marriage is supposed to look like. I know what healthy communication is supposed to look like. I know what to expect, accept and reject from a man because of the way I've seen my dad treat my mum. So I just want to say thank you, Dad, for everything. I hope you enjoy this video. Let's get into the lookbook and I hope you guys enjoy it. The video, let me know which look was your favorite, let me know which pair of shoes you'd like, let me know what kind of videos you'd like to see from me. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye.